now. And so, good morning, Miss Tracy Robinson.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fantastic. So, y'all, I want to introduce you to Miss Tracy Robinson, a dear friend of mine and a huge inspiration and a pretty incredible human being, an amazing artist, fantastic mother, and kind of rock star hair to boot. So, say hi to everybody. Say hi to Miss Tracy.
Good morning, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Tracy, are you driving? You better be safe. Tracy, are you driving?
Me? No.
Okay. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you for letting me come on today and share my story. I really appreciate it. So,
if everybody can go ahead and hit your mute, and then we'll rock and roll with Miss Tracy and get this party started. And this is the call A for attitude. I mean, a good one, not a bad one. And Tracy's going to give us some lessons on how to have even a better one. So thank you so much for being here, my dear. Take it away.
thank you. So I know Tracy's heard and knows my story. Does anybody else? Has anybody seen me with Gino Stampora? You have? Oh, cool. So a little background on me. I've been a hairstylist for 28 years. I've been in 3 salons. I started in high school when I was 16. My first salon was just a small one. From each one, I think I've learned different traits. The first one, I would say I learned humility. I learned what it meant to take pride in your salon and that we're never above anything, you know, sweeping the floors, mopping the floors, scrubbing the grout, whatever. We did it. And then I went to another salon, Big Day Spa. This is when the industry was booming. It was crazy. People had, 6 weeks out. And I was very fortunate enough to study under a man named Lonnie McDaniels. And what I learned from this guy was basically how to build your book instantly. So this man, when he would say, if he said walk like a duck, quack like a duck, I waddled and I quacked through that salon with pride, let me tell you. And I watched my numbers. I had left a career of 10 years at the first salon, went to the second one, and within, I would say, 5 months, I was doing at least $50,000 a year. And mind you, I only took about 5 customers with me because I had spread out my in-between jobs. So I worked with this man for probably 2 or 3 years and built myself up to, and mind you, this was almost 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years.
Huh? Somebody say something.
No, we got an echo from somebody. If everybody can make sure your mic is on mute, please.
So I was quickly went to almost a $3,000 week, maybe 25 to 3,000, and this is almost 20 years ago. So after working there for a while, it was just the industry. It was crazy. 30 minutes to do it. I needed a break. I needed to change, and I wanted to go back to a small family. So I went to my third salon. So I was doing, I would say, when I left the first to the second, took a little bit of a hit, probably about 10%. Now, mind you, I'm a single mom and 2 kids. I live in an insanely expensive area of Loudoun County, right where Gino Stampora lives, actually. So I took everything I had learned from the second salon into the third salon. And then I was able to work with another great mentor. Well, no, I already told you about Lonnie. But so when I'm working in the third salon, I was about 2,500 to 32. And then I started working with Gino Stampora. This is an opportunity that I couldn't imagine ever happening to me. I was doing great. What I thought I was doing, like one of the best in our salon, one of the best in my area, but I wanted to give back. I wanted to teach people how to generate their business like I had done with these 2 mentors. And so then that was about the time I met Oscar. About a year into working with Gino, I met Oscar, and quickly, from listening to him. And like I said, remember, if somebody said, do this and you're going to make money, I'll do it. So Oscar kind of guided me. I mean, we probably had a series of about 5 phone calls over a month or 2. And I watched my numbers skyrocket. I am now doing between $4,000 and $5,000 a week. I work 4 days a week, about 35 hours. For example, last week, now I'll tell you what I charge. Last week I did $3,100. I had been at the show in, where were we? Nashville with Gino. And then I went on a cruise on Thursday. So I only had 2 of my 10-hour days. So in those 2 days, I did $3,200.
In 2 days, not 3.
2 days. 2 days. And a lot of that comes from the coaching that I got from Oscar with playing with your numbers and your clientele. So being at the height of my career, so mind you, booked nonstop, I charge, my haircuts are about $70 for old clients. My new clients, because I do not take haircuts alone, you have to get color with your cuts, they would be $80 for the new clients. So I'm at the top of my career. There's really no place to put anybody else. So, you start adjusting. But about September of 2015, I had a setback. They said, I went into the hospital. I thought I was having an appendicitis, which in reality was a cyst on my ovary. I get a little shaky. I don't know. It's always so real. It just, when something like this happens, your world is shooken.
Well, one thing about this group, Tracy, is you're in a really safe place with these people.
Oh, yeah. I've been watching you guys. I have really enjoyed, I was telling Oscar yesterday, I've really enjoyed watching you guys and following your progress. So I went into the hospital and they said, across the board, doctors like, there's no way, your age, you have no history. You're going to be fine. You're going to come in, and then you're going to leave. I went in for a surgery that should have been about 2 hours. I woke up 6 hours later, looked at the clock, and knew my world had just been rocked. They said that they had done a full hysterectomy, an appendectomy, and I had cancer, and that I was going to also have chemo. So you can imagine you're doing $4,000 to $5,000 a week, single mom, house, everything. What are you going to do? My world was just wrecked in my head at that moment. So I laid on my couch for 3 days crying and then all of a sudden I woke up and I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? You've been training for this. You've been training to teach people how to be inspired, how to be motivated. You need to take everything you've learned and you need to do this. So fast forward, I was out of work with all that going on, going through chemo, 2.5 weeks. I went back behind the chair.
They told you were going to be out of work for 4 months, you said, right?
Yes.
And instead it was 2.5 weeks, that's it.
2.5 weeks.
Holy moly.
And so what I had been learning all along with working with Gino is, I'm sure all of you have seen Gino at some point or another, but
we had him here too. We had him here a month ago.
But in person, I'm sure, like seeing Gino in person too.
Correct.
If you look at the way that man, his attitude, how he walks, and even you, Oscar, how he walks through the halls, how he greets people, if you were to study somebody and that's what I've been doing. I have probably sat through, oh my gosh, 150 of his seminars in the last 3 years. Yeah. I sit in every single time. I take notes. I'm learning something. And when I'm not sitting with him, I'm sitting with somebody else. That's how I met Oscar. Had a break, ran into Oscar's room. And I was blown away by Oscar. I was like, I got to talk to this guy. So I was out of work for 2.5 weeks, went back behind the chair. And really, I was probably back at 25 hours a week, 30, because I still had chemo. I would go to chemo on Fridays. I only work Monday through Thursday. Go to chemo on Fridays, back in the salon on Mondays. And what I learned in this entire thing is my attitude, how I viewed things, and what came out of my mouth, my actions, totally made a difference. And so that's why when Oscar asked, when we were talking about doing this, he said, what do you think about attitude? And I was like, absolutely. My attitude is probably the single thing that got me through all of my journey.
So Tracy, would you say that, and I believe I know the answer to this, but you were a pretty positive person prior to that, correct?
Oh, yes. I mean, I would say, like, in our salons, and that's what I got from the first guy I worked with in that small salon, was just being humble and keeping everything on an upbeat, not looking at the negative. Like, if you have a slow week at work, everybody's like, oh my God, I'm falling apart. Me, I'm going, did you become an asshole all of a sudden 6 weeks ago and now all the customers didn't come back? No, you didn't. You cannot collectively be an asshole to everybody and make them leave. When you're slow, you're slow. There's nothing you do about it. But what you do at that time is what matters. Are you sitting in the back? Are your employees sitting in the back? Are you out shopping, spending the money you're not making? What are you doing with that time?
Window shopping's a good thing when you're out trolling for clients.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're bringing them back.
Correct.
But so I view time down like that as my time to create. I say God gives me the time I need. It's my time to work on my business, to customers, to call them, to what are you going to do next? How are you going to wow your customers in 6 weeks? Because you figure we have a 6-week cycle with all of our customers. So when your customers come in 6 weeks, what are they looking at? What are they seeing? What is your story, right? My story has been ever changing. I posted something the other day that says creating, what does it say? Like continually creating myself, never ending creating myself. Because honestly, I try to change up my wardrobe. My hair changes up on a regular basis. I was hashtag bald stylist. So if you can imagine shaving your head and having to be behind the chair, you know, selling beauty. Great for tips. Let me tell you what, people tip you sick when you have no hair. But imagine, you know, having to go back to work and being sick every day, and God forbid, hopefully nobody's had to go through chemo, but your entire body hurts. Your hands are numb, you know, but when people say, how are you feeling? It was always great. Heck of a lot better than I was feeling 6 weeks ago. You know, I learned that what came out of my mouth really affected my entire environment.
Amen.
The people I was with, the negativity. Oh my goodness. You know, you have those people that when they're coming through the parking lot, you're like, oh God, here she comes. Oh, what, you know, it's the 50 Shades of Courtney. Who's coming to the salon today? And I tell you what, I just kind of laugh at them now. You know, when they come into the salon and they're like, you know, moods, what did their boyfriend do? What happened? So attitude has definitely been probably the most healing thing to my recovery. Wow. And being around people, continually inspiring people. You know, I find inspiration in everyone. I was going through and telling Oscar yesterday about the different ones that I can see you guys on social media. And it's Christine, right? She's not here today.
Correct.
I look forward to her videos in the morning. And I told him, I'm all like, where's her husband today? You know, I'm looking around, like, but she's kind of like, watching her grow has kind of motivated me and inspired me to do my live feeds, you know. But I don't have time in the salon. So it's where am I going to fit it in? And what am I going to talk about when I'm not at the salon? So anyways, that's kind of the backstory on me. So I'm sure everybody's been through something hard, but don't be a victim. I would say don't never be a victim to your circumstance. Make it your story. Make it your challenge. How are you going to get through this? And what are people going to say about you after? Mm-hmm. Now, during all that, this is another thing. During all that, I was nominated to run a campaign for the Leukemia Society, and I took it on. It was a 10-week campaign, and
while you're in treatment.
The day before my first chemo, it was the Man Woman of the Year campaign.
Wow. And
they came to me and they said, and back up 3 years ago when I started to work with Gino, this is when I made a decision. Do or die. I'm getting this. I'm going to do it. I'm not giving up. Now, I had plenty of haters, even the people I work with, what is she thinking? She'll never be able to do that. She can't do that. And that's when I
do what? That being what in your mind? You haven't really spoken.
Just be a speaker to inspire, inspire people. I'm just the stylist there, or I was just the stylist. But that's when I decided I'm closing my mouth and letting my actions speak. So when I talk to, nobody knows I'm on this call this morning. I will dribble it in during the day. But when I decided to let my actions speak, that's when adopting that attitude and being humble that way, you started to see the people slowly graduate to me, or
gravitate.
And so I lead by example, not by telling everybody, oh, I've been here, I've been to there. Half the people think I'm vacationing every few weeks, but it's great. But so anyways, that's kind of where I got started and how my story became something to share with everybody and hopefully inspire people.
So if we're on the subject of attitude, and you've progressively increased your business year after year and continuously through other couple salons and mentors, we all do hair, or we all are in the business in some capacity, whether it's hairs, nails, etc. And we all have particular mindsets that we're either kind of born with and hold on to, or we kind of are open to learning more and becoming more. Two people could be equally as talented and one person might do 1,000 a week, but you're cranking 4,000 and 5,000 a week.
Yeah.
What's different up here in your attitude, in your thoughts, in your beliefs than the person doing 1,000? And before you answer that, I'll give a quick little story. If any of you all remember Jeannie Bra with Paul Mitchell, she used to be a big educator with Paul on stage, and then her and Robert were on stage for years together. But Jeannie was at the time, Jeannie, I think, was $100 or $125 haircut. And she's talking to Frederick Furkai, who at that time was a $350 haircut. And they're both talented rock stars as far as cutters go. And she says to Frederick, what makes you worth $350 and me worth $125? And I believe we're about equal as far as talent. And he says this to her, I believe I'm worth it.
Absolutely.
And that's all it took from him to say that was, I believe I'm worth it.
Absolutely.
Not to mention he has an accent. So I always say if you have an accent, you can add a 0 to your price.
Yeah. He's speaking it. He's taking that mentality that nobody's going to take this from me, you know. And that is that there are different types of attitudes and personalities. And if you were to look at yourself today, would you say that you were more of a fixed attitude or a growing attitude? And the difference is, I mean, so let's go back. Fixed. Think about your house. How many of you changed things in your house? Or has your house stayed the same? You do? I rotate on a seasonal display in my living room and my pillows and everything. And when I started to realize that that's just almost kind of like how I work at the salon, I'm continually growing, continually changing. I'm trying to keep my customers guessing. So a fixed attitude is somebody that when they're born poor, they believe that's kind of how they're meant to be. They often play the victim mode. They point to others for their problems. You know, it's, I'm not growing because the owner's not advertising, because the owner's not getting me enough clients. We don't have pretty enough decoration. Then you have the growth minded, and we don't believe in failure. We believe in lessons. We believe that everything, whether we succeed or not, we get something off of that, because you know what they say, I mean, without failure, you're never going to have success. So we learn how to be more confident. And just what you were saying, those words, I'm worth it, come out of your mouth. You know, when I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I finally I stopped saying I mentor with Gino Stampora. I say I am a speaker and I work with Gino Stampora.
Bam.
And I started to see how people looked at me different.
Correct.
And I put it on my business card for the first time, inspiring speaker. And so it makes a huge, huge difference. They say that your attitude is one of the single most important things in your success. So I work really well off keys, like the 1 through 5 keys. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, to first kind of look at yourself, evaluate yourself honestly. What kind of mindset are you in? Do you continually change, or are you just kind of plateaued? The fact that all of you are here means you're willing to change, means you want to change. And that's great. And I find something very motivating and inspiring about every one of you that I've been able to follow. So anyways, the first attitude that's essential for success would be you go beyond everybody else, not only behind the chair, but in your personal life. And this is one thing that following Gino around, and even Oscar, if you look at the way that they interact with people, they go beyond what they need to do. You don't have to tell somebody how beautiful they are, or, oh, I like your shoes. I mean, they both seem to always find something great about the people around them. People that go beyond, we don't compete with other people. We get inspired by other people. When I was at Shapes, this Lonnie McDaniels guy that I worked with, he was one of Vidal's originals, and how he inspired me, but not, I heard what he had done. Like, I read his resume. I don't know if it's true or not, but I read his resume, and I thought, man, this guy's amazing. And, I could have been intimidated by him. A lot of people were, because here's this great big California stylist coming into Northern Virginia. And I decided that I was just going to latch onto this guy instead of being intimidated or jealous by him. I became very inspired by him. And like I said, I grew immediately. in that salon, $50,000. Within year 2, I was making $100,000 in that salon. Year 2. So they, number 2, people with a great attitude, a successful mind attitude, we don't complain. When we're behind our chair, what are we talking about, right? I say I'm kind of a mix between Chelsea Handler and oh God, I tell people this all the time. Anyways, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. Every customer comes in, they sit in my chair, and if you kind of look around, you can hear the same stories all day long. Like, I try to talk really low because I don't want my girl next to me hearing my same story over and over. But you will never hear a negative story come out of my chair. Even when things don't go my way, I don't complain. When it's a color, you're sweating back there. You're like, oh my God, what's going on with this color? Some people are back there going, oh, we didn't have the right product. We didn't have this. We didn't have that. You're not going to hear that from me. You're going to hear more like, oh, well, let's what are we going to mix up? Because I believe that our attitude and that spirit that we bring into our salon has a huge impact on the people around us. And I don't want to be a part of, bringing these people down. So the fixed mindset, they when they don't get their way, they sit in that back room, they're moping, they're complaining, it went wrong because that I'm sitting back there going, well, what are you going to do to change it next time? I'm finding that solution to the problem as soon as it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when everybody's a salon owner here or stylist?
Combos of everything.
How many salon owners? Half and half? Yeah.
And a couple that aren't on the call right now.
The break room is called the broke room. That's what Gino calls the back room, the broke room. Those are where the majority of your fixed people are going to stay because they're not coming out to get motivated. They're sitting back there, and that's where the complaining goes on, right? So
I call it the cancer room because that's where the disease grows.
Yeah. I mean, put things into perspective. When I came back to work, and I would sit in the back room, and literally, because there's not much time for me to sit around at work, but when I do, I want to just sit. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to hear anything. I just want to be, I just wanted to be there. And they would sit there and they would complain. And I was just looking, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And then so you saw through what happened to me. You saw the attitude in my entire salon change. We learned what a first world problem really was. And it wasn't. Seriously, that's when somebody's complaining at work, I'm like, first world problem. And with those people, I separated myself in my personal life and at work. I separated myself from that kind of personality. I don't do well with fixed people because I want to grow them and I want to fix them. And especially with what I do. And I sat back and I thought, why don't these people see what I'm doing? They're doing $1,500 a week. I'm doing 4 to 5. Why aren't they? It's a no-brainer. Why aren't you doing what the girl that's doing $1,500 is? Why aren't you emulating the way that I walk up to the front? You don't even give half the people a consultation, right? How many of the people in your salons do you see not give a consultation to every customer every time? It happens, right? Or is it just my salon?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right? So you don't get to the shampoo bowl in my salon with me unless you sit in my chair. And even if it's, hey, how's it going? It's great. Do the same thing. Okay, great. Even if it's as quick as that, or it can be a 5-minute consultation. These people who need 10-minute consultations, they're probably, we're not going to do well together. Because those are the people that are always going to find a problem with what you're doing or what the last stylist did, so those people are hard. But anyways, so the third one, I would say, be like water. And what I mean by that is go with the flow. Don't let the small things that are happening around you in your salon, at home, don't let them affect your spirit. Your spirit, people, when I'm down, you can tell. Because my spirit is usually, they say you can see it in my eyes when something's not wrong. You're not going to hear it out of my mouth, but the people who know me the best, they can see when I'm hurting. But again, I'll never speak it. If I'm going to talk about what's bothering me, I'm going to go to somebody who can lift me up, not bring me down. And that's kind of, we know we should do that. How many of us practice it? I do religiously, because if you go to a fixed mindset, the way that they're going to handle it is nowhere near the way that I'm going to handle it if they were to come to me. The fixed mindset people, they're going to worry about what everybody thinks. They're going to worry about if they fail. They're going to think, what if I make a fool of myself? How will I ever get out of it? Well, you know what? I make a fool of myself probably daily in some way, getting pretty used to it. And even with speaking, I was telling Oscar the other day, when I was in Nashville, it was probably the most amazing show I had done so far. Gino gives me parts of the show here and there, and I had about 20 minutes on stage for the last show of the weekend. But the first show, I was literally standing up there and I just froze, and I didn't even know what I was talking about. And I was sick to my stomach about it. But even before we left that room, I had questions written to Gino. What happened? What did I do? Because he evaluates me every time I get up and speak. And I was already working on how to fix it. So in my mindset, I was like, screw this. I'm going to take this back. I'm going to kill this next class, and I'm going to walk out of here with my head held high, because I literally wanted to crawl in a hole after the first one. But and I did. I took it back, and I improved on the things that I messed up on, but then I exceeded what I even expected out of myself. So I walked out like, yeah. So so being like water and going with the flow is something that is so important. Don't get discouraged. Don't get down. The rivers keep flowing. You keep doing it too. Make sense?
I love that line. I've not heard that one before. Be like water. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, you can't stop. You know, you have the people around you, like I said, the ones that doubt you. They're the ones that are going to kind of dam up your river. Don't let them do it. Keep going. So number 4, always expect results. Whether they're good, whether they're bad, always expect something to come out of it, because even the bad results, you're going to learn from, right? The fixed mind people are the ones that are going to stop. They're gonna take a few steps. They're gonna fail. They're gonna stop growth. We're gonna learn. We are going to focus on what we want constantly. Well, we want to know the kind of impact that we have on people. We want to, when we see how people react to us, that makes us grow even more. With, kind of like with praise, you grow, right? In my salon, and I'm the artistic director, but I'm not the owner. And I've been there for this current salon for 9 years, and I love my team. My team is amazing, and there's a few on board with me. And I was telling Oscar yesterday, these 2 that just kind of latched on about a year ago, they didn't say, I'm going to do what you do. I just watched them start growing with me. They shoot, where were they going with that one?
They're with you and following you.
And constantly growing. No, oh my gosh, here's the squirrels. My world is full of rainbows and unicorns, but a lot of squirrels too. So this is the chemo brain, guys. This is where it hits you. And this is one of the things that I had to overcome, because imagine coming out of chemo. I could barely put 2 sentences together. I'm cutting hair and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm just like, can you tell me?
So now you got a built-in excuse for being blonde. Is that what you're saying?
Ew. No blonde jokes now. But this has been one of my biggest struggles. And I was telling Oscar about this yesterday. I used to be able just to go and ramble on. But then after the chemo, and they say it's going to wear off, but then other people are telling me it's old age too. So who knows what it is. But it's something that it's a setback for me. It's a huge setback. And this is a great place to forget what I'm talking about, because it's embarrassing for me, but I take it as that learning block. I grow from it, and I don't get embarrassed by it anymore. I mean, a little bit, but not like mortified. When you focus on what you want instead of what you don't want, you'll succeed, and you'll succeed a lot faster than that person who doesn't know. There's a girl in our salon, and amazing. Cosmoprof even highlighted her on the back of their book, their monthly magazine. And this girl has, she could, Kimbo, is that the guy with the crazy colors?
Kimbo?
Yeah, is that who does them? The crazy,
Kimbo does a lot of artwork, but I think you're thinking of Guy Tang.
Guy Tang, yes. She could compete with Guy Tang any day. I say, look, let's get you into Naha. Let's get you competing. She's like, I don't know what I want. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What do you mean you don't know what you want? You're amazingly talented. This kid's like 27 years old, been doing hair 2 years, and I learn from her daily. I become great at balayaging. How is this kid that is 27 years old? Nobody else in the salon comes over and watches this kid work. And I don't know if it's because they think they're too good for it or they already know enough. But I'm inspired by this girl, but she has no clue what she wants. She's not focused. She isn't going for the brass ring. And it really bothers me, but I have to just be quiet because I see this incredible success, but because of her attitude and her, I don't know what I want. She's plateaued. And she said to me the other day, she goes, I'm not growing anymore. They're giving all the customers to Katie. And I just said, you're not growing because your attitude's different. You stopped growing the moment you changed your attitude. You used to be go, go, go. Let me go out. She was recruiting people off the streets to come in and get $500 worth of crazy color in their hair. And it was amazing. And just for that time, she motivated me and she inspired me to get more out there.
So what do you think shifted in her?
I think her attitude about her own life, her boyfriend problems, her, I say a bad boyfriend story is a great story behind the chair. Every guy I date is one more good story, So you take, not only do I take like this story of what happened to me and how I turned it into a positive, I take my dating life, and that's huge. And again, my customers love it. They never hear the negative because there's too much. I would say probably 5% of my customers ever complain in my chair. I don't have customers that complain because they're not feeling it from me, and I can't stand working with them. The customers that do complain, I'm just like, oh my God, the bang. Oh, I could sit here. I can think of the 5 too. And they
let me pause you for one more second, if I may, Tracy, to kind of bring it back to your coworker. Because I think we've all can relate to this young woman you're speaking of, having had some inspiration, having had some go-get in us. And then all of a sudden we turn left and we've lost either our inspiration, we've lost our direction. In coaching, what I wrote down here was, and this might support you to support her, is try to get her back. And I talk to everybody on these calls like this. What's your big enough why? What's your why? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to be a great colorist? To your friend, your coworker, get her why. What would your life be like if you owned a home, had 3 vacations a year, blah, blah, blah. What's your why? And then when you said also about the coworkers not going and checking out her work or learning from her, I think my dad told me like week 1 when I got my license and I got on the floor, he like blasted me with all kinds of lessons that week. And one of them was, the day you think you know it all is the day you better get out of this business.
Absolutely.
Because this business is a constant, ever-changing industry, and he compared it to fashion, which I think we are parallel, obviously, to. And both of those are constantly changing 3 and 4 times a year with the seasons. So he said that to me, very young age in the industry. When you think you know it all, you better get out. Boom. Fast forward years later, he came up to me and he said, "So it's time for me to go. I'm retiring." And he goes, "And it's not because I think I know it all. I'm just not willing to learn anymore. So now I know I need to go." And I'm like, you can't go out on top any better than that. I mean, that's when you're honest with yourself of the realities of what you are or are not willing to do for success. So I'll let you continue from there, but I think that's a huge part of attitude, is those things as well.
Yeah, like I said, when I started working with Gino, it was do or die. This is not my option. There's not an option in my head. And it's not easy. It's not, and nothing, success will not come overnight. Changing your attitude or becoming the growth mindset, it can become very discouraging at times because you feel like you're always the positive and you're always the one that's lifting everybody up. Well, you are, because they look to you when they're, for that little oomph in their day. But it's been a challenge, and I see how she gets frustrated and I see how people get down. But again, take my attitude, and there's only one way to go, and it's up. You get kicked down, you know what? It's not about how many times you get kicked down, it's how many times you get up. And it's been life-changing, completely life-changing when I made this little switch. Let me go with 5 and then I'll go back to that.
Good.
Okay, number 5, take action and stay consistent. And when I mean action, I mean massive action within yourself. Okay. Think about dieting. People say, oh, I need to go on a diet. I need to go. I have got clients that, I swear to God, they've been on diets for 10 years and they haven't lost a pound, right? Because they never took that massive action. You have your fixed mindset. And like I said earlier, these are the people that they're going to take the action, but as soon as they have the least bit of failure, they're going to stop. They're going to back off, and they're going to have all those excuses why. But then you have your growth mindset, and we take that action day after day, week after week, year after year. I am 3 years in with this journey that I embarked on with Gino, and I have to tell you, I am more excited now, and I probably hit more bumps in my road now because I'm taking more chances. I'm a risk taker as far as my business goes, because everything that's happened to me along the way, I've made it through. I realized that being successful is about being patient. Oscar, we were talking about you starting your bricks, and you're knocking on doors left and right. But the one thing I'm not afraid of is failure. I'm not afraid to take that chance. I'm not afraid to fail. And sometimes with taking that chance, it's almost like bungee jumping. I use this analogy a lot. You just have to step off the ledge, and you have to have faith. You know, I bungee jumped before. Let me tell you, they had to push me off the ledge. I want to step off the ledge myself now. But you have to take that chance and be consistent every single day. What's your ritual? What do you listen to when you wake up? What do you listen to in the car? Yeah. I find myself, I keep CDs in the car. I keep Gino, Larry Curtis. I keep Paul DeGriglio. These guys I keep in my car. And when I'm having that bad day, I pop them in, and it kind of gives me that boost. You know, I was talking to him about the call, Lisa, who'd you have last week? Liz. And I tell you what, I've watched that now. I watched it again last night, and I was getting ready this morning doing my makeup, and I watched her video again. I'm constantly filling my brain with that positive, that education. And in the car, I have these songs that I listen to. I hit this one point in my drive, and I pop these songs on, and they are my motivation for the day. It's the same 2 or 3 songs. It's kind of funny how it all kind of evolved, and I didn't realize it. But so consistency, and not looking for that praise from the people around you, because you don't need it. You have to be the people that I want to hear that they're proud of me are my kids. And when your kids can tell you that they're proud of you, that there's nothing better. And
guess I better go make some kids, huh?
Call your mom. So, but
I don't
anyway,
think I hear that from her these days either right now. She's mad at me.
Oh. So just keep in mind, being successful with your attitude starts with that single step, but a million more. And when you change your attitude too, there's one thing that I also learned is when you change your attitude and you become calmer inside, and you just have this I'm not going to lose attitude, you start to see that everything in your world happens right. There's very few things that don't happen right in my world. And like I said, I believe if you speak it, you're going to manifest it, and it's going to happen. For instance, I'm out the other night for a birthday party. We're sitting at this barbecue place, and I bring these dice. We call it screw your neighbor, because you take their money. It's really called 4, 5, 6. So we're rolling dice, and the game, there's like probably 40. You start with $3. Anyways, there's about $120 in the pot. This game has gone on 3 times, and I was like, man, I just better say something positive. So I sat up and I said, can I have everybody's attention? I was like, when I win this pot right here, I'm not going to walk out of here with it. I'm going to give it to the birthday boy, because that's what I think I should be doing. So guys, I'm just letting you know, I am going to win this mic. This is going to be your birthday present. I lost all my money. I'm sitting there. I got nothing. Nobody on the other side of me has any money to be passing to me. So I'm like, well, so much for that. Guess who won that money? They were blown away. They were like, oh my God. And I spoke it. I believed it. And you might think that's crazy or some mumbo jumbo, but it's not. This happens to me all the time.
I speak that every Wednesday and Friday with the lotto.
How's that working for you?
It will one day.
So anyways, yeah, so that's kind of my story. And those are the keys. I, again, will say let me go to this. You go beyond everyone else. And here's an example of that. In my chair, I go, we don't serve wine. It's really up to the stylist. That's a whole nother story, how our salon operates. But you will find umbrellas under my station for my customers. If it's raining, dollar store umbrellas. They leave with an umbrella. If it's their Valentine's Day, I knew my last guest was a widower. She came in, she was like, oh, I smell cookies. And I was like, sweetie, I got fresh baked cookies for you in the back and a glass of champagne sitting there for you.
This is interesting. The two things you just spoke right now, the umbrellas and a couple of things. I created the salon edition of the bricks last year, which I haven't relaunched because they're not where I want them to be yet. In fact, I'm going to probably invite all of you to help me redesign them as far as the content that's on them. But instead of words being on these bricks, it's kind of extra customer service to do.
Yes.
And one of them was, and I had solicited this information from Facebook friends a year and a half ago, and then I started to evolve the bricks to that point. But one of them was walk your guest out on rainy days all the way to their car with the umbrella. But I love your twist on that is you give them an actual dollar umbrella. Brilliant.
Chances are they're going to bring it back to you, but they remember that. They leave and they remember that.
That's huge.
And, yeah, so it's going above and beyond the person next to you, right? And Google it. I mean, what can I do to make my customers' experience better? You know, that's what I do. I sit on Pinterest all the time and I'm looking for ideas or Instagram for Pinterest for Instagram inspiration. But so anyways, go above and beyond. Never complain. Be like water. Go with the flow. Then you have always expect results. Good, bad, ugly. Expect them. Learn from them. Move on. Take action. Massive action. And you do these things and you do them daily. And we could add probably 10 more, 20 more things to this, but break it down, make it simple. Put those on the board in your back room. Put them in your car. Put them in your bathroom, wherever. And think about that every day, so you're reminded to do this constantly, daily, and you'll find that it's not hard anymore. You know.
So, if I may, and I'm gonna open this up. Is everybody is this pretty amazing story and really good stuff, you guys? You getting some good value? Okay, awesome. And then, so a couple things, Miss Tracy. So you've had a couple stages that you went from the first salon to the second, and you were doing roughly at that point how much a week?
25 to 32.
Okay, and then you said that you went from 50,000 to 100,000 in a year.
Yes.
That's what we wanted. How'd you do that? How'd you double in 1 year?
Well, first of all, I started fresh with no clientele. I literally, I listened. What I'm really good at is I don't necessarily read and comprehend. I watch and I learn. And I studied this man's mannerisms. I watched what he was doing, how he talked to his guests, the positive things. Okay, I'm going to see you back in 4 to 5 weeks. You don't ask your guests to come back. You tell them when they come back. You tell them what products they need. Everything is what you want, because when you say it, it's going to happen. Like you can make it happen. It's like voodoo. It's crazy.
So his salon was obviously busy enough as well.
That was back
I'm sorry?
Right. That was also back before the recession, before everything tanked.
So that's my point, that this salon fed you that quickly as well. You were just good enough to get them, keep them, and flip that into a 50 to 100,000.
And with that, what happened was when they brought this guy in to be our artistic director, people started dropping off like that. I saw opportunity. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, she's leaving, she's quitting. Oh, these are my people now. And what I do too is in any situation, but in my salon, and I've done this since I became a hairstylist, I go around, I talk to every customer in the salon, every single one. Hey, how's it going? What are you doing? They feel my energy. They feel my attitude. And it makes a difference because I make myself memorable with my attitude at work. And people they want to know what's going on in my chair. So
who has some questions for Miss Tracy? And let's get to know her a little bit more. So if you want to participate, please unmic or unmute yourself and fire away. All at once now. Who's got something? Well, okay then, really.
What are your challenges at your salon? You know, what do you guys, here's one thing that I find, and I'm going to go on stylists and I'm going to do owners. We're in a class the other day, and one of the main questions you always hear is, how do I get my staff motivated? Right? How do I get my staff motivated?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Well, lead by example. So many owners, and I see this over and over and over again, they're like, ugh, my staff, they sit in the back, they do that. Well, be creative. They're like, staff is like children. You constantly have to be creative. You constantly have to offer them something. In our area, you would not believe, nobody knows about what's going on at NAHA, Beacon. You never see people involved in serious education. That's why I'm excited to get, you know, people like Oscar and other speakers into this area. But give them something. You know, you yourself have to be up. You can't share your negative. You can't share your bad. And, you know, because it breeds your energy, your aura, it'll breed. But, and then you have the stylist who sits in the back. So as an owner, I would say it's up to you to inspire them. You can inspire them, but they have to remain motivated. Their own reasons. Give them something to be motivated for, whether they're reaching for a goal. I find something like this backdrop here. This is because I decided I want to compete in NAHA. I want to become a finalist, if not a winner, in NAHA. So I went out and bought this backdrop. I tell everybody in my salon, if you guys want to start shooting hair, come over, let's do this. Let's bring it into the salon. I'm trying to give them stuff to inspire them and trying to motivate them, right? So then you have the stylist that's sitting in the back and she's moping, oh yeah, I'm not busy, this, that, and the other. Well, let's take this back to Liz last week. Who are the best social media people out there? These young stylists, right? Give them a job. Tell them they're important. Tell them that you need them to do this for you. And it'll start to engage them more, or start doing it yourself. But it'll start to get them more excited as they start to see the likes and the feeds. You know, you got to kind of go with what they're doing, because honestly, I mean, this social media thing is real. I listen to all this. What? Are you raising your hand or stretching?
Yeah, I was raising my hand because Tracy actually has her hand up.
Oh.
And before you go, Tracy, to piggyback on what you just said about they like likes, when I was out to build an app for these bricks, and I had it started by a couple of young guys that were gamers, that were game designers. One guy dropped the project. I got another guy, brand new out of college, 21-year-old kid. He starts on the app. He gets about halfway down the road on developing it, and then he gets offered a $70,000 a year job at 21 years old. And he took off and didn't tell me. He just left me hanging. But when I was telling him about what I wanted as a 50-year-old man, and you know, my representation of the industry, and then I said, what would appeal to you all at your age, this same app? He goes, my people, we like likes and we like points. And I was just rolling, man. That's what motivated him.
Absolutely.
So Miss Tracy, what's your question, my dear? Go ahead and unmute and come on board.
Can't hear you.
I can hear you now.
I can't hear her.
Oh, Tracy. Wait, I can't hear you, Tracy. Go ahead. Say, you're muted, Tracy, still. Now you're unmuted. Speak again. I still can't hear you.
Do you have earphones plugged in?
Huh. Type your question in the chat then. Because I can't hear you, Tracy. Sorry, honey. If you want to type it in the chat down there, we'll be able to. Who else has a question?
Come on, give me something.
Who is one of her favorite motivational speakers that's really spoken to her life?
Okay.
Hello.
Who said hello?
Grace.
Okay, go ahead, Grace.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you to Tracy. And it must be emotional Monday because I'm sitting here, I'm getting all choked up. But I really wanted to thank you. And I actually, I know a stylist who she took makeup classes with me years ago, and she's in her she's a wonderful stylist, and she actually has ovarian cancer, and she's going through what you've been through right now. And she's working, she's working through her chemo. She's going into work with a walker. And it's just, your story really touched me, and I thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I had a question for you, Tracy, from somebody from Wendy, actually. She asked, who is one of your favorite motivational speakers that have really touched you? How and why?
Well, Gino Stampora. I've been listening to him for 28 years and implementing what he talks about and continually listening. And like I said, all the different, 150 times over the last 3 years. Why? Because it's real. It's you can apply what he says to any kind of life, any profession. And that's what's really great. Another thing that I love listening to is motivational on YouTube, sports motivations. YouTube, I play YouTube every morning in my bathroom with lectures or speeches, but listening to sports motivation is because we're all competing. I'm a healthy competitor. I'm inspired. I like to take that person that's above me and chase them. I like to always set my goals, but I find that daily listening to motivation, whether it's in my car on YouTube, but Gino by far.
Now, outside of Gino, do you have anybody else?
I really like Paul DeGriglio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sharing a room with him in Orlando at the show this year.
Yeah.
And last year too, we shared a room.
Yeah. Tell him how I've learned a lot from him, and he's he's different than Gino. Gino is your classic. I call him the godfather of the industry. He's classic. And then like Paul, it's Paul. I don't know. I just really I like his accent too.
Paul just takes a lot of Tony Robbins stuff and repackages it with his name on it.
If you listen, like Sam Burns has one for, he's really good at client, taking care of customer service, taking care of your customers. Sam Burns is good I like him. So, and these are just in our industry. Tony Robbins, you can get anything from Tony. So
Tracy has her hand up again.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah! Woo!
I realized what was wrong. Sorry. Okay, so my question was, it's a little bit different from what you're talking about. First of all, I love you, and I love sitting in classroom. I'm going to be up at salon again. I kind of a little break, but in October, team meetings. When you work at the other salons, or how do you feel about team meetings? Like, I've always liked them very positive, very celebration. Like, you as an employee, how do you feel about them, and what do you like or what do you don't like?
I think they're essential. Absolutely think they're essential. I think that they should always be upbeat, because that's why, let's be honest, that's why nobody wants to come, because you're going, and my old salon, the big one, it was like a browbeating every time we went in. I think that anything derogatory, negative should be taken care of on a one-on-one basis, or if there is, I believe that it needs to be called more of a roundtable problem solving meeting. We have these issues. Let's come together and collectively, what are your suggestions to solve our problems?
Yeah.
And then it makes, and serve wine. So, because honestly, when you say there's going to be wine, so it's like, yeah, well, most of them. But I think that this is another thing too, to kind of get people, your employees, to engage in continuing education, whether online or in person, is assign somebody each time. They need to give you a 5-minute lecture, a 5-minute what they've learned, how they've learned it, how they implement it in their life, whether it is from the motivating part or not. I find that we can go to hair shows all day long, but we either know how to cut hair or we don't. We get inspired by different trends, but sitting in these classes to learn how to be motivated to give customer service, I think that those are the number one thing. And you can bring guest artists into your salon to teach them how to razor cut, but you also need to bring in the people to motivate them intellectually and keep them inspired. Because I tell you, I just keep my wheels turning. from just pumping it into my.
Awesome. Anybody else? Lisa, go ahead and unmute you, please.
Hi, Tracy. It's been super, super, super amazing to hear your story and to hear you speak. So I am the queen of fear of raising prices, losing clients. Shut up, Oscar. How do you move past that? Like, how do you just take that first step to say, I am worth what I charge?
Well, you just said it, saying that. Even when you're insecure, I say never let them see you sweat. Are you with the owner?
Yeah, I'm a one-man show at the moment, but I'm expanding, and I don't charge for a lot of things that I do, and I don't want to pass that on to
Feel good
that I hire.
So let's give you a transition point, baby steps, because this is what I've currently done with it. For instance, Olaplex. This is like the miracle hair drug, right? Olaplex. And if you can't bring yourself immediately to raise your price, then do it this way. Add in the Olaplex. Make them feel like they're getting a little extra something, right? Or if you are going to raise your haircut or your color prices, give them something extra. And I'm not meaning like a product or something. I mean, bring something more to the table. Talk continually about, I sat on this Monday chat. They need to know what you're doing. They need to know that you're investing your money and your time and that you're becoming worth it. If you're in a studio, it sounds like if you're in a studio or a suite, change things up. Make it so it looks like there's more. You're getting better, more value. That makes it easier for you to do because you need to be putting more into it. You need to tell yourself you're worth it. And who cares if you lose a few? Who cares? You're gonna gain more. Don't be, because it's like, I had somebody call me the other day and say, well, can you do my hair? Yeah. And she said, well, how much? And I told her, and she was like, oh. And I said, well, she goes, well, can you do it for this? And I said, no, I don't come into your house and ask you for, your job and ask you for a discount. Don't come into mine. I am worth every penny I charge. And the people that stick with you know it, right? But when you are worried, get your momentum working as far as self-promoting yourself, asking for Yelp reviews, asking for your Google reviews. You constantly making the ask, so that even if you use them, you're getting all these Yelp, and that's how you're going to gain more clients. But you have to believe it. You have to believe that you're worth it and say it.
Correct. And then also, listen, what's the number one objective of raising your prices?
Work smart, not hard.
Well, but the expectation of raising your prices is that you'll lose some people. Because that's what you want to do is
gain the paying clients.
Correct. You want to open up the vacuum, get rid of the people that are not your ideal, and now you have a clear vision with your powerful vision statement as to who your ideal is. And then you fill your clientele with those new bodies, and you don't shrug on the old bodies. And then as we break out the wall and we do the build out, you're not going to have to, if you're a one-person show, then when you raise them and they leave, they leave. But now you're going to be able to have another level below you to your new people that you hire, and they don't have to leave the salon. You're still going to get money from them because you're going to drop them down line to your other people. So they stay in-house while you build your clientele of your ideal, the ones who don't flinch when you say, $225 or whatever.
You can't let them smell your fear in asking, and that's all in adapting that different.
I got you, Steph. So Miss Stephanie has a question, but you're muted right now, Stephanie, so unmute, please.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to piggyback a little bit and tell Alyssa, you keep saying that you're going to lose your feel good, and I know what you mean by that, but what you need to think of is you can still make people feel good. You can still do those things for them. It doesn't mean that you need to give yourself away. But you can still build people up and do those things that make you feel good because you're helping people, even though you're charging them for what you're worth.
I find too, something that I tell the girls in my salon is, tell a little white lie. I raised my price 6 months ago, but I hadn't done you yet. I was giving you this great deal. Make them think that you cared enough not to, but that have to get everybody on board across because it's getting too confusing. And just do it with confidence, that attitude.
Or do it afraid anyways. It doesn't matter.
Attitude, but just that I am worth it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So
Grace, did you have your hand up again? You're muted.
Hi, thanks. No, I was also going to say about we're always so nervous about what to charge, but is the electric company worried about what they're charging us? Is the cable company worried? I mean, we have bills to pay too. So, we have such big hearts, but we have to charge something, and because we have to pay, we have to pay our bills, right? And like I said, the electric company, the utility companies they don't care.
Right. And like what you lose, you're going to gain at a higher price. And it's not worrying about that.
And some people you lose because you're not charging enough.
Correct.
Right.
And, the bottom line is I've told everybody, some of you individually, some of you collectively, somebody's always the most expensive in any community, town, or city. Why can't that be you? We all put our pants on the same way. Going specifically to Elisa, when I first started coaching her in our one-on-ones, we were looking at the numbers, and she came back to me on the next call after her homework, after she found out how many feel goods she has, and she was like astounded by how many people she discounted over a 2-week period. And then when we put a dollar amount to those discounts, her jaw dropped. And I said, okay, so you've hired me and you're paying good money to grow, not to lose money. So I'm going to have to earn my keep, which means you got to do your side. So we looked at this attitude of feel good. And that's what I deemed it was. That's your feel good. So you give this away. And I said, why? And because it made her feel this, that, and the other. I said, okay, great. How else can we gain those feelings but not lose the dollars? And what we came up with was, let's get out in the community. Let's go donate some cuts to this or that organization where I might be able to piggyback my feel good with, oh darn, some publicity, which equates to possible dollars on the return. And now we've started to kind of reprogram a little bit of thoughts and beliefs, right, Elisa? Okay. So that's one way that we tweaked and twisted the feel good concept, that we could still do good things. And I let her keep like five or so clients that she could still do whatever discount she wants, but don't tell me about it. But we got the mindset changing, and that's what this whole thing comes down to, is our attitude, which originates from our thoughts and our beliefs. Correct, everybody? Would you all agree? Okay. So
also goes with go beyond my first point, going beyond everybody else.
Correct. One of the quotes on the bricks is a quote from Roger Staubach, who used to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys back in the 70s. And his quote is, there's no traffic jams on the extra mile. I love that. So who else has something for Miss Tracy? Okay. I know. Yeah, I'm pretty 100,000% positive. Not any person on the screen is doing 4 and 5K a week. So here we have somebody who does it. Why don't we dive into her with some questions on because I never did 4 or 5K a week either. So I'm as human as the rest of us. I want to know more. But I don't want to take over. I want you guys to jump in, please. And or whatever that 4 to 5K for you is.
Right. I get one question I get a lot is, what do you charge? So let me just back up to that. My basic color and cut is $160, I believe. A full head highlight and haircut is $225. And so that kind of gives you my haircuts for new guests. If by some chance they get in without a color, would be $80. So that kind of gives you if you do the numbers to what's equivalent in your area. We're in a very expensive area, but, so any questions on how I maneuver things behind the chair? Nope.
So we have hit our wall, y'all. Really?
Okay, I have a question.
There you go, Miss Terry.
Okay, I had my hand raised, and I don't know if maybe you can't.
I see it now. I didn't see it earlier.
I didn't know if maybe I had done something wrong. What I wanted to ask Tracy is, Does she work with an assistant, or does she do her own shampooing and all of that?
Great question.
We have one assistant for 9 stylists.
Holy jeez.
Wow.
I instead of, when you're working smarter, not harder, I one by one, I eliminated perms. I eliminated children's haircuts. I passed them down to the people in my salon. I'm never afraid to let a customer go to somebody else in the salon if I can. And they know that. They feel it's almost like dating. As soon as they know you're okay with it, they're like, what? You don't, and so they're more apt to come back. Shoot. There you go. Came my brain. One stylist, one assistant for everybody. I can have sometimes up to 4 people in the salon, but because I don't let them feel my stress, and that's part of, again, the attitude. I kind of bounce around. I'm like, you know what? We're all here. We're all going to leave looking good. So yeah, sometimes it is a little hard with only one person.
Well,
Yes.
So does that answer your question, Terry?
Yes, it does.
But I'm also very hands-on. I don't let assistants do my toners. I don't let them do my bumps. I don't let them do anything but shampoo. My guests are my guests, and it's all about them.
I agree. My assistant takes care of my shampooing, but she also takes care of conditioning treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally I have her mix color for me. She brings me my client's folder. I tell her what I want to change about it, and she will take care of the mixing. But I do not have my assistant do any of my blow drying or toners or anything like that. So
I will say you have to realize that your assistants are your right arm.
absolutely.
And that's where their experience starts, is with that assistant. I tip my assistants very well. We have mandatory tipping. Like for a chemical, we have to tip them 2, and for a haircut, it's 1. And then they make minimum wage on top of that. But I exceed that. I'm always handing them an extra 20 at the end.
That's something I do as well. At the end of the week, I tip my assistant 10% of my tips, and I tip my front desk 10% of my tips, which we have 2 front desk people, so they get 5%.
I like that part about the front desk.
Yes, because without them, and that's something I just do personally. I don't require, and I don't know if any other stylist in my salon does that, but I do. And
you'll find if you walk into work and you're taking care of that front desk staff and you're smiling and you're upbeat, they go out of their way to make sure that your guests are taken care of.
Absolutely.
I will say they are phenomenal with my guests.
If I can piggyback in here a little bit too, Christy, is your question answered, Terry? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, well, you're fine either way. So Tracy, you said you only let your assistant do the shampoos and your guest is your guest. And then, hypothetically, if you were to work somewhere else and had just you and an assistant, like in a suite perhaps type environment, in the future, might you allow them to do more?
I would train her.
Okay, because I was going to go, that's kind of an attitude mindset thing right there, what you just said, not to call you out, but to challenge you from me to you as your friend and kind of coaching thing, if you change that, you're going to change your dollars, especially.
Oh, absolutely. But when you're stretching one person with 9 people.
I get that. Now, when you get them under your umbrella by yourself, you're going to be able to start cranking even more dollars once you get them. Because I used to run with one. I haven't had a ton of assistants, but when I did, I abused them. But they would do pre-blow dry for me, and then I'd finish. But they did certain applications for me. To be perfectly honest, for me, everything's about the shampoo.
Oh.
And so I literally taught them, and I've been talking to this group. In fact, Rob, who's not on the call right now, I wonder what happened. We're working with his team at his salon to create an entire specific ritual on how they do their ritual massage. So any guest could sit in anybody's shampoo bowl and have the same experience generally.
Absolutely.
And my dad always said, give them a great shampoo, they'll be more forgiving.
There you go. Oscar, I have got to go.
That's right. I forgot. And we're winding down here in a couple minutes anyway. So
thank you guys for letting me share my story. I hope it helps and it motivates you, when you have tough times to know that with the right attitude, you can push through it. You can be successful. You become infectious to the people around you. Alyssa, you just start changing the way you talk behind the chair, and they're not going to question you. You know, change your verbiage.
She's changed a whole lot in a year,
awesome.
big time.
It's awesome. And I wish all of you guys luck. I do have, if you kind of want to see a little bit more about how I evolved through the whole experience, I do have a blog. I'll put it up on in the site. And you can go in and you can, read it, grab a glass of wine, some tissues. And you'll see how my attitude evolved over the whole, 6 months of going through the cancer and the chemo. And I wish you guys well. And I look forward to following you guys.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy.
I know you got crazy, busy, hectic life and schedule, so thanks for willing out an hour with us. God bless you, buddy.
Thank you.
We are so grateful that you're here with us still. Go rock on, my dear. I can't wait till I come to one of your seminars someday.
Oh, yeah, you will be. Front row. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Miss Tracy.
Thank you.
Y'all can stay on for a couple more minutes real quick. Hey, everybody. Was that okay? Was that good?
She's a rock star.
He really is. It's tough when somebody's coming up the ranks of a speaker and trying to develop themselves. She has one of the greatest examples with Gino, that she travels with him all over the country pretty consistently. So she's learning herself and her whole presence. And, my gift to her was to bring her here with us, as well as try to inspire us, because I know I'm inspired by her.
Absolutely.
I've unfortunately lost too many people to cancer. So to be able to see somebody that pulled through and is making, just amazing results with their life. And where I'm coming from with attitude, I guess, is my whole thing. I lost my best friend to leukemia. Some of y'all know my story from the Champ Camp days. I lost my childhood best friend to leukemia 28 years ago. And I'm still pretty jacked up about it on a regular basis. And what's pretty amazing from that is, there's been times that I've used his death as a crutch for my lack of success. There's times that I used his death as a pity party, because he and I had this dream to play professional baseball together, and we were both that good. He got a full ride scholarship. I got drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates. He got leukemia. He dies, and our dream dies. And that was kind of where I was left in my life. And so if we can dive deeper. This stuff might come to you a little bit over the next hours and days as to what just happened here. But if we can pull little pieces of that attitude and inspiration, and those days that we think we have a shitty life and that, oh my God, problems suck, think about what she had to go through and others like her and how they've come out. So if they can come out from the fires of hell and death, we can get over a couple other things that are just here for the moment, not for life, right?
Yes.
So real quickly, if we can go around and speak your value, if you would, from today. And Grace, I love you, honey. Hang in there.
I know, I'm like bawling over here for crying out loud. Well, because I think, we all have lost many loved ones to cancer, unfortunately. And so this was just absolutely inspirational. It was beautiful. And I'm writing down, I am on the right path. I am living. I am a believer. So my I ams are so much more, just so much better and much more positive. So this is just this. I'm in the right place at the right time, and I am thankful to you for inviting me.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Grace. You've been a huge part. And for all of you who know Grace or don't know Grace, she goes live every day with the bricks. When she got the brick, she took the Oscar 90-day challenge more serious than anybody has in history yet. And today was day 70 what?
81.
81. Oh my God. So on day 90, and so in 9 days, I'm going to go live with Grace on her 90th day. And I got to find that app. You and I will talk, and I'll get that app and we'll practice. But I'm going to go live from 2 screens in 9 days and find out what her journey's been like throughout this thing. So thank you for participating in my life and making my life and my dream fulfilled too, Grace. But who else? Elisa, what was your value today? Thank you, Grace.
I love her always expect results.
Good or bad.
Or ugly.
Yeah.
I've had a little bit of all three, but I feel like, sometimes it's like we we just sort of be like water, but we don't expect anything to come of it. And I think when we recognize that everything we do is going to have an impact one way or the other, then, you know, maybe we put a little more foresight into what it is that's going to happen when we do something. When we take that action, what's going to be the result, as opposed to, oh, well, you know, shit happens.
I love it. Thank you for that, Lisa. Miss Melissa, how about yourself?
As all of you probably know, I'm typically a kind of quiet person, but I am known in the salon for being like the rainbow with the unicorn jumping out of my head, because I am very positive. But sometimes I need something to feed me, because it's tiring being positive. So yes, that's probably the biggest thing, is hearing somebody else that has gone through so much be so positive. And
yeah. So, you know, I often say, I so get you in your words right there, Melissa, because I often, and people that you know, you can imagine some of the people that I know and hang out with as speakers and inspirers. And amongst us, we tend to say sometimes, who inspires the inspirers? And that's a tough game, because some of us are pretty picky on who can either hold our attention and for how long. So you better be at a certain level. And so this is for everybody. A song that I go to probably 20 times a month. And sometimes it's within the first 15, 20 minutes of my eyes opening. I go onto YouTube and I type in the song, I Am a Conqueror. And it's from the TV show Empire. And you want to talk about a great beat, but amazing words. It's powerful. I Am a Conqueror. That'll get you going, you guys. Anytime you're wary, you're wavering, and you're just kind of down a little bit and you need to overcome, go play that song, and I promise you, call me after that and tell me how pumped up you are. Miss Terry, what was your value today, please?
Well, I needed this positive message this morning. Today is the 15th anniversary of my niece's suicide.
Oh.
And I started out this morning with texting my sister-in-law to tell her that, you know, she was in my prayers and all of that kind of stuff. It is a day that I try to celebrate her life. She committed suicide when she was 16 years old. And so listening to Miss Tracy definitely put a positive spin on my day, and not allowing myself to, like you said, Oscar, you know, I can have a big ass pity party in just a second. You know, I have to keep myself out of the mire and the muck, or it can get bad quick. So my favorite thing that I heard Tracy say was, be like water.
Yes.
And go with the flow. But, you know, I want to expand on that and say grow with the flow.
Ooh.
So that's going to be my mantra today, I think. It's nasty here in Alabama. We've got tornadoes all around us and terrible thunderstorms and all of that kind of stuff, but it's going to be a bright day.
I love it. And
Thanks.
God bless, and be careful on that one for sure, Trace.
Absolutely.
Tracy, how about yourself? What was your value today, please?
Same thing. Be like water and go with the flow, because my life has been changing so much in the last couple of years, and trying to mix with kids and work and being two different people. So go with the flow. That's awesome.
And you're doing that very, very graciously. Jamie, you're muted. Would you like to share? Okay.
Do you mean Jana?
I haven't seen her on the screen anymore since she first started.
Oh, she's right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're muted, Jana. Oh, there you go. Welcome to the call. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you for including me this morning. I have several, actually.
Okay. Love it.
Today. I loved don't be intimidated by others, be inspired by them. Let's see, I have them starred here somewhere. Take massive action, going above and beyond, and primarily don't ask your clients what they need, but tell them what products they need, when they need to come back, instead of saying, oh, well, do you want to reschedule today, or would you like to try this? I own a spa, and I'm not a stylist, but we do skincare, and instead of asking them if they need a cleanser today, I'll tell them why they need this new one.
Big time.
I loved that. But I guess those are my key points today.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you got some value, and thank you for being part of this, and hopefully we'll see you down the road as a permanent part of the group.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Stephanie.
Good morning.
Good morning, baby. You look tired, Miss West Coast.
It has been a very busy few weeks, and
Yes,
so for me, pretty much like all the 5 points she said are kind of how I really try to live my life and run my business. So it was kind of just nice and reaffirming. But like hearing her say it and writing it all out, I realized that even though this is how I am and I've tried to be for many years, it wasn't until I think recently that maybe I started, I don't know, believing it, or actually like instead of just acting that way, it was just who I was instead of just actions. And I've noticed a big difference in my business, and not just as a nail tech behind the table, but also as a salon owner and where our salon's going.
Well, considering where you were at a few months ago when we were talking, when you were considering joining the group here, I've watched you shift drastically in the last 2 months.
It's huge changes.
So welcome back to your life, darling.
Thank you.
Awesome. And Delia, you're muted still. If you'd like to share what was the value for you, my dear?
I love her energy and her positiveness. I find it's really important that we all have to be very positive behind the chair. I always feel like I'm a therapist to my client. So having teenagers right now, since I'm in teenage health, I always have to put that happy face on and make sure that I'm there for them. They're there to see me, and I try to cater to all their even emotional needs.
Awesome.
But yeah, I love how she inspired us to do that again and remind us. So great call.
Thank you for that, Delia. And Miss Beverly, how about yourself, my dear?
I was very excited when she said something about when you're feeling bad, what comes out of your mouth, you have to be very careful. It can make or break your day.
Amen.
I like when she said we had to fix our attitude to go beyond and to compete with others. Don't compete with others, but to watch and get inspired by what they do.
Yes.
That kind of attitude, and to take massive action, and to always expect results, whether they're good or bad. It's not how we fall, it's how we get up.
Wow.
So that gave me a lot. That was very powerful.
I love that for you, Beverly, and I'm glad you heard what you needed to hear right now as well. Thank you so much, hon.
Thank you.
So I have 2 phones here. One is an 814 number. Who is that? And then I have a 320 number. Who is that? Okay, so we got 2 call-ins. I don't know who y'all are. Welcome. Did I miss anybody? Alex, are you up there still? I see your screen, but I don't see your face. Here she is.
Hi.
Hi, girl.
I'm here.
How about yourself? What was good for you today?
Just don't be afraid to fail, because I'm very afraid of that. That's probably my biggest thing.
And what's the worst thing that happens if you have a mishap?
Really nothing, but I don't know. I'm just real afraid of it. I don't know. So like Susie always yells at me about stuff like that. She's like, you're always afraid to take risks. So I need to, I guess, not be so afraid of it.
And sometimes you just got to do little challenges to find out what the heat feels like a little bit, and then go for a bigger challenge type of thing. But, here's the thing about, like she said, there's always the lesson in the fail.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison, I found 900 ways that it didn't work, but that put me closer to creating the light bulb. So you're not going to get the successes without the failures, Alex, right?
Right.
Awesome. All right, you guys, great job today. Thank you all so much for being on here. Our next call is another A for attitude, And we're going to have Larry Curtis. It was funny that Tracy actually mentioned him. And Larry owns salons and academies in Utah. And Larry is phenomenal with his school because he brings in massive educators to his school. In fact, I go there next month to do a couple days there with his students and the community doing some team building work. So I love him and respect him for that, and he'll be on our next call. So you guys go out there and make a crazy, amazing Monday, and make it happen Monday, you guys. I love you. Thank you for being a part of this, and y'all have a good one. Peace.
Thank you.
Don't break down your walls, you guys.
Yes, break them down.
God bless y'all. Take care. Thank you.
God bless you too. Love you.
Bye.